attention, though, is that China is targeting two U.S. companies on a corporate level, putting them on what's known as the a list known as the unreliable entity. Two companies, including one, PDH, which has Calvin Klein.
Alpha Team, this is Chief of Security Blanchard. Are you a sight for sore eyes? I've been holed up in the mansion since yesterday trying to organize a containment response. Now that you're here, let's lock down that AO. I'll track by the cabs and coordinate.
It's worker that would be very definitely exactly notified how that will play out. Where does company go? Now that time has been out, will the White House go back?
Fresh out of warning shots.
Last talk 2 weeks ago. Talked about that we
Blanchard Alpha. 3 Janicides staff are missing somewhere in your area.
And Mexico did from the United States.
States.
Likewise.
All right, Mark's doing Beijing to end this outbreak.
New this morning should not be too surprised. Stock futures.
Looks like someone wants you to blow these stinking corpses back to hell.
Retaliatory tariffs. Beijing believing this in response because of Trump's 10% tariff on China's imports. This reduction here doesn't in Mexico and Canada were in the line of fire.
It might shock you to know I have stuff going on that doesn't involve dealing with your petty bullshit.
We need to find out what caused this, even if it turns out it was us.
Well, look, Sarah, China's getting back. Not shocking, pretty predictable, actually, and yet this is going to raise some concerns about a broader U.S. So overnight, China laying out their retaliatory but that's not controls on metals to U.S. companies to a sanctioned list, including the parent companies, Tommy Hilfiger and Calvin Klein, and they're launching this anti-monopoly Google investigation. So when you put it all together, this looks like a relatively measured response from China, right? They could have done more, and yet this does open the door to potential kiss of passage because the executive order that President Trump signed the other day includes specific remedies to give China and then up. So this is U.S. and China. Even as the North American from the late of which 1 month on Mexico as well. There is this debate over how that Trump wins on the North American tariffs, and they said that none of this needs a tariff power play. They said that the 25% voter if Mr. Trump is in the wrong move, or he doesn't like something that the wrong move was said was done. So, look, Sarah, clearly, man is back, right? The tariffs are back up, they're down, they're paused, they're ramped up. There's so much chaos for consumers, investors, CEOs. Oh, the market hates them. Yeah, but
so when it comes to consumers and Americans in particular, when you see things like oil and coal, we're talking about energy prices potentially. What could be the experience for this?
yeah, look, even the president to this trade valley shows that in
You see the face on that thing? Oh, how tight that fuel.
This is from Mexico. Look, the less money you have. This research finds that the bottom 20% of earners, this is going to be like about 3% of your paycheck. You're living paycheck to paycheck. That is something that you notice much less, just barely 1% of the top 20% of earners. If you're in the top 1%, you're not. another reminder here, right? And people are still wearing the grocery store. Insurance. This could add insult to me. This is going to be a loss. If it doesn't
Who wants an omelet? I'm packing lots of eggs.
especially Mexico and Canada, it sounds like what's new then?
We begin this morning with a high-stakes meeting between President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister in Washington. Later today, the two leaders will hold a joint press conference for the White House. Sources tell CBS News Trump is considering executive order to dismantle the Department of Education. And overnight, China is imposing tariffs on the US. This comes as Trump agreed to pause the proposed tariffs on Mexico and Canada. He pointed to Mexico's 2022.
They're very strong now in the border. They've been putting that's military soldiers and 10,000 water soldiers, and they want to protect their own speakers.
CBS News correspondent Natalie Black is following all of these fast headlines for us from the White House this morning. Natalie, what is behind the president's choice to reverse course as far as Mexico and Canada are concerned?
Really, we're just he said that the world is going through what looks like monetary realignment, and I think this is what it is. All these negotiations we're seeing, all the threats by President Trump. Tariffs, of course, are really important because they affect the current accounts of companies. You're trying to set up a new monetary system. The current account is really important because countries that have a bigger deficit are in a worse situation than those that have a big surplus. And guess what? America has the biggest current account deficit of them all. Tuesday, February 4th, 2025, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Well, today we're going to look at how the tariff wars are intensifying now. I know Mexico and Canada backed down for now, but it looks like China has announced its own tariffs on the United States. And I think this is just a symptom, actually, of what Scott Bessent, the Secretary of the Treasury, calls a Bretton Woods-like monetary realignment. I'm going to link that subject with the LPP today, the London Market Association, and I'm going to recommend a reading it. To that topic, I want to cover a few other outside topics from this main topic, because there's so much going on in the world right now, as you all know. Let's go through the first topic, and that's the executive order that President Trump signed yesterday to create a sovereign wealth fund. And I'm going to give you my opinion on that. Before I do, I'd like to say that I think President Trump is doing some really good things. So I'm not a fan of sovereign wealth funds. And why is that? Well, it's because companies don't have money, and people don't have funds to invest. It's for the next year. And that's the only way, or fruitful, right? So, and I think it creates interest in business and government. I think individuals, the private market, private economy knows what's best in terms of investment. So, I think, countries like Norway, more socialist leaning countries, this kind of stuff, sovereign wealth fund. So, I'm not too keen on that. I think it goes against the principles of the founding fathers. I don't think there is a mention of a sovereign wealth fund in the Constitution. Second topic, yes, Mexico and Canada. Trump postponing.
Trump administration ordered by Tom Homan. You know, Tom, great to see you, by the way. Thanks for what you do. I think that video says it all, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You know, we're good here for half a million children. Never got it. And we're going to have 550,000. Something I've been incorporated. Where's your tears for the 600% increase of sex trafficking of women and children? And of course, where's your tears for rape and rape, murder, burned alive? So, you know, it's just pathetic.
Yeah, well, you got some help from President Trump, but now he got Canada, Mexico, Colombia, and even Venezuela to set back these illegal immigrants, and you now have Gitmo as a place to put them. How important are those developments to you?
You know, President Trump proves every day he's the greatest president of my lifetime, and I mean that. He's moving at lightning speed. Look what we've done. You're right. Seeing the airplanes of illegal aliens landing in Gitmo, a game changer. Seeing the Department of Defense take airplanes south of illegal aliens, I progress every single. I'm not going to 10,000, with 10,000, 11,000. We're not a single one of you. We're either return or return and seek prosecution. A lot of times people every day. And not a lot more. I got a great team. We got the greatest president I've worked for. We got Secretary Noel. He's already been on the ground with the border patrols. He's been on the ground. Artie's been on the water. He's got more accidents. I got two headsets. Show me two headsets. All of these access. I'm locked up here.
Do you guys speak a Russian accent?
We have one hell of a team.
Let me read a headline to you. Chicago leaders encourage residents to exercise their rights in resisting Trump's deportation policies. The governor of New Jersey, Phil Murphy, basically admitted that he knew somebody who didn't have full documentation, and he was hiding over his garage. Then we have Tom Tillis, senator from North Carolina, saying that people should have the right to sue sanctuary cities and states that aid and abet in lawbreaking. Your comment on all of that?
I think the governor proved who was saying the truth is I got an order, won't let it go, in the chamber, and if you know what I mean, parking and concealing and no ground. That's a violation of Federal United States Code 24. Obviously, prosecution for the secretary. So, maybe something. Did he not? Did he do that? But it's probably seen sanctuary cities where it's not, because the administration is going to do that already. Sanctuary cities are sanctuary for criminals. One example, right? The young
I let some into your
sanctuary
skull.
cities in New York City. If they would have gave us over the son of Lincoln Rice, we got to New York City for an endangered child, he would have been in jail. He would never killed Lincoln Rice. Sanctuary cities are responsible for the death of thousands of young children throughout my career. And we're not suing, we're not only. And look, we've got what Supreme Court, that's what President Trump going to do. You and sanctuary cities.
Trump is talk with Xi Jinping potentially as soon as today. Retaliatory tariffs on the United States beginning February 10th. On China went into effect at midnight. The 15% tariff on refined natural gas, 10% on crude oil, also on shares in large vehicles, and export controls on key rare metals. It will also meanwhile, Trump striking deals with 30 days. Prime Minister Trudeau went into effect, sending upwards of 10 troops to the northern border to also create a fentanyl czar as terrorists launch a joint strike force combat. Mexico's President Scheinbaum also vowing 10,000 troops to the border with promise to uplift the business. Yesterday, the European Union could face tariffs next. What?
We have massive deficits with the European Union, massive, like $350 million, if you can believe it. They don't take our farm product. They don't take our cars. They don't take almost anything, but we take their cars. We have millions of cars coming in. We don't charge them tariffs. They make it impossible to sell cars in the European Union. They make it very difficult, agricultural product. They actually don't take it, and they have a lot of excuses.
Looks like the expectation is tariffs on Europe to start mid-February. Samantha, your reaction?
Well, what we're seeing right now is really the art of the deal in real time. President Trump has made it clear these aren't tariffs just for the sake of tariffs. There's a broader strategy at play here, and it has to do first and foremost with resetting the table with regard to how America is treated and fairness. So whether you're a friend, ally, neighbor, or adversary, America is going to demand to be treated fairly. We've seen just within 24 hours, President Trump was able to get done more than has been done in the last 4 years. He's also made it clear this is not just a trade war, it's a drug and crime war. And so with respect to Canada and Mexico in particular, they've got a very troubling relationship with the cartels, and they need to do more to secure their side of the border with respect to this drug and crime war.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I said first thing out of the gate yesterday. This is a drug war, not a trade war, because I know President Trump doesn't want to start a trade war, but he does want reciprocity, and he wants the U.S. to be treated fairly. He also signed an executive order yesterday to create the first ever U.S. sovereign wealth fund with a suggestion on what could be the first purchase. Watch this.
We're going to have a sovereign wealth fund, which we've never had. We have a lot of things that create wealth. As an example, TikTok, we're going to be doing something perhaps with TikTok, and perhaps not. If we make the right deal, we'll do it, otherwise we won't. But I have the right to do that, and we might put that in the sovereign wealth fund.
Well, they've got a lot of issues with China. This conversation with Xi Jinping will be important, Cheryl, and I don't know that China is going to want to go all in on, taking Trump to task, because that economy is weaker than it.
Alpha Team, this is Chief of Security Blanchard. Are you a sight for sore eyes? I've been holed up in the mansion since yesterday trying to organize a containment response. Now that you're here, looks like...
Alright guys, so let's do an end of the world update.
What do you want?
Now let's see Mexico and China bend the knee. Down on their knees and then kiss the ring. Now, what happened? Not what we wanted. Mexico is sending 10,000 troops to the border, and Canada has pledged more or less to stop migrants and fentanyl from entering the US. So now we have got 30 days to pause. Now this sounds like good news, but let's not forget that the terrorists are not 100% confirmed gone, right? So there's some stuff coming up for Europe, which is the topic of the video today. And you have to understand that China,
You weren't using your brain anyway.
a lot of bad things are bubbling on the surface. No, that's surface information by turning it borders that China still balance their trade. Big deficit to buy more American goods. What we have seen the last 4 months, right? I was quite surprised by the backlash Canada actually gave. Through speech it sounded quite strong, right? Quite strong. But a lot of supermarkets in Canada, they actually blocked away a lot of goods coming from the US, where I saw grocery aisles, pictures of grocery aisles saying that they don't sell any Canadian goods. So the backlash on the ground is quite brutal. Once the force both the demand and supply side using tariffs, what does that mean? It actually wants to restore production and make airlines fly for the US. And at the end of the day, this is what the US economy wants to be. They want to be more or less self-sufficient, but they still want the world to buy stuff for them.
But here I am
Because the
again.
cost of production in the United States is just so high. If they don't have foreign companies to come to subsidize the economies, the industries are just going to have foreign costs so high, inflation so high, and as strong as the US purchasing power is going down and down. Remember again, there's a crisis in the country, borrowing costs are extremely high, a lot of people they're struggling with their mortgages and they can't even pay their own homes. So the US needs foreign countries to come in and buy their stuff. And this is exactly what Trump is going to go to Europe with. His approach is all about this. Trump has promised in his vow to punish the European Union, the EU. He wants Europe to be even more tightly dependent on the US. Let's remember that this goes back all the way first term in 2020, right? Now, at that point of time, Trump wanted to stop but yes, we all remember the conversations that the government one of the said that reliant on gas. And it came to a point that he actually tried to stop the completion of Nord Stream 2 financial sanctions. Now that didn't work because at the end of the day, Russia pushed through construction, so Nord Stream 2 has been constructed, the pipeline is there, but Nord Stream 1 has been
last night.
You cannot wave away an agency that you don't like or that you disagree with by executive order or by literally storming into the building and taking over the servers. That is not how the American system of government works.
Just like Elon Musk did not create USAID, he doesn't have the power to destroy it. And who's going to stop him? We are. We're going to stop him. We don't have a fourth branch of government called Elon Musk. And that's going to become real clear.
They're shuttering agencies and sending employees home in order to create the illusion that they're saving money in order to do what? Pass a giant tax cut for billionaires and corporations.
We talked about Trump wanting to be a dictator on day one, and here we are.
I'm in the mansion.
This is what the beginning of dictatorship looks like. The Constitution. And you install yourself as the sole controller. That is how dictators are made.
Democratic members of the House and Senate outside of Washington for the purpose of USAID today, the Secretary who had gotten to denounce the Trump administration illegally shuttering that agency. U.S. government employees were told to stay out of the agency's headquarters today. Many were locked out of the agency's computer systems. When senators and members of Congress tried to enter the building today, they were blocked by what appeared to be uniformed Department of Homeland Security officers. What are you doing there? Congressman Jamie Raskin told Axios, quote, "We were told the office is closed and all employees were told to just telework, but I thought that was illegal now." Donald Trump has said working from home will be almost entirely banned. He tries to get federal workers to quit. Also, a protest this morning outside the Office of Personnel Management, which is essentially the federal government's HR department. This is the office from which Trump appointees have been sending out emails to federal employees telling them Tomorrow, there's a protest planned at 5 p.m. Eastern at the Treasury Department in Washington, D.C. That's where Elon Musk's demolition crew got access this weekend to the Treasury's payment system, which means, among other things, Musk now has access to personal and financial data of millions of Americans. Tonight, federal government employee unions joined an advocacy group for retirees in filing a lawsuit against Musk obtaining sensitive personal data on, say, everyone in this country who gets a Social Security check. Pushback is happening on many fronts. Is it going to work? Joining us now, Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland. He's a ranking member of the Judiciary Committee. He's one of the lawmakers out today. Congressman Raskin, it's really nice to see you. Thank you.
It's great to see you, Rachel. Thank you for coming back in this service. You're a model to all America.
I'm glad, but I'm here. They're not going anywhere. Can you describe your decision to go to USAID today? And actually, can you also describe what happened when you tried to go inside the building?
Sure. Well, for me, it was easy, Rachel, because not only have I been trying to defend the Constitution and legality in America, as you know, for the last several years, but I have tens of thousands of federal workers who are my constituents in beautiful Montgomery County, Maryland. And I see here all the telltale signs of a coup. A coup is a seizure state power by unelected actors who want to take over the critical infrastructure of government outside of the law. And that's what I see as going on right now. I mean, Elon Musk has basically tried to take control of the country's communications infrastructure, governmental financial agency infrastructure, and he's got important parts of the military infrastructure. So I'm looking right through Donald Trump, who no doubt wants to abuse everybody's civil rights and civil liberties and centralize all the power in him. But at this point, you know, I'm with Steve Bannon and Laura Loomer and the people on the right who are saying, watch Elon Musk, because he's the guy who's trying to defend him, and he hasn't been elected to anything.
When you say that, as you did today, and you played the clip of it, that we're going to stop Elon Musk, what do you see as the most effective means of opposition to that, the scale of what you're describing there?
Well, every Democratic is available to it, though, fortunately, because they think they're dictators, they're challenging the civil service law. I mean, the point of civil service law is you fire people. That's why we have a civil service, as we know, and yet they are being very open and explicit about their doing that. I mean, to the extent people are given any justification at all, is that we don't think that you can successfully forward the agenda of President Trump, which is not an acceptable justification for firing people who haven't had a chance to even work with Donald Trump. Right? These are professional, independent civil service members. Republicans, independents, Democrats, in any event, the vast majority of people have excellent civil service records, and you give them a due process administrative hearing and tell them specifically what are the charges against them. It's the same thing, by the way, with the inspectors general. 18 of them were sacked en masse by Trump, when most people have the right to 30 days notice to Congress with a specific substantive elucidation of the charges against them. They just run roughshod over that. So we've got constitutional claims against them in a lot of places. The First Amendment stands for the same principle. You can't fire neutral, non-neutral officers like prosecutors, like FBI agents, like cops, simply because a new party comes to power and they think that they want to stuff it with sycophants.
Congressman, you're talking about civil service law and lawsuits to try to protect civil servants being one of the fronts on which the opposition can proceed. What are you seeing as the other potential fronts on which, Congressman, you have the power. You have the power.
We budget for agencies.
Budget.
Yes.
Yes.
You have the power to spend, to take away money. You have the power to structure agencies. You have the power to create, destroy agencies. You can actually do all of those things from Congress.
Yes, and if I could answer that question, what I would say is you do the budget, allocate funding for specific agencies, for specific purposes. It is when we see these federal bureaucrats spending this money and making decisions on
and making decisions that are not within what we anticipate or what we intended for. And that's why I thought it was appropriate to pause some of these things that were going out, because they were going out for some ridiculous things.
That's it. But let's
kind of speculative.
looks like 10 pounds of death in a 5-pound bag.
About that. I'm going to but he's been saying pretty point blank, this is going away. We've gotten rid of this, we've gotten rid of that. And the money has stopped flowing.
Respectfully, Congresswoman, it was his aides who sent notices today to USAID saying, don't come to work. And I hear your point about cutting spending and everything. And look, I'm not going to die on a hill that says that these agencies don't have privileges that we need to rein in. But the fact is, do you know, sitting here today, that Elon Musk and his aides do not have access to my Social Security number? You don't know that. And that is troublesome, because as a member of Congress, you should know that. But what we do know is he went into Treasury. He locked people out. He fired individuals. And now Elon Musk and his aides, and this is not a partisan attack by any stretch. This is, look, I deserve to know where my information is and why someone who was unelected, we don't even know what his job title is.
So why is it, that's an important question, why is it, Scott, that Elon Musk claims that it is a crime to tweet out the names of the 6 individuals who I have to assume are government employees, maybe they're not, who are going around carrying out these orders and telling people, for example, who are not coming to work at an entire federal agency, who are going into the country asking for access to a sensitive payment system. How is it fine to know who those people are?
Because it's kind of sick
okay, if his own platform is an angry mob, that's not going to work. Some people who are doing things that affect some of us. They're doing
I mean, yeah, probably in a positive way. Glad to see Democrats are coming around to the idea that the unelected people who might be involved in the running of our country are important, because you see they had no interest in that for the last 4 years under the last administration. Here's the bottom line. The American people, you know what that means is that you had a president who was not functional and you know it.
By that same token, I mean, if you're concerned about the people around Joe Biden running the government, why aren't you concerned about
because I don't want somebody tell Carver I just won our headshot.
Why are you not concerned that Elon Musk is, according to as someone that President wants to because he's so powerful and gets leverage because he spent $250 million to get him.
Look, the president was elected. He runs the government. Elon Musk is an agent of the executive branch at the direction of the president. And as the president said today, he's not doing anything that the president has permission to do. And I will just remind you that he was elected to do. In Washington, stop this usual and out of control bureaucracy that, as the Congresswoman correctly pointed out, is spending money in ways that was never intended.
3 of your colleagues in the Senate, Senator Bill Cassidy, Jared Moran, and Tom Tillis, they've raised some red flags of what's happening at USAID. Cassidy wants to know why clinics in Africa are not getting the drugs that USAID provides. Jerry Moran is wondering why there's American food rotting in ports of entry. And Tom Tillis says if you just shut down every program in there, I think it's a mistake and it will have policy and political. What Elon Musk did, he shut USAID down.
Well, first of all, going back to the transparency, you have not had a more transparent president than President Donald Trump. Every executive order, every conversation he has with a world leader, there is a printout, it is on social media, and we are learning what's going on in real time.
That he's shutting down USAID and tell us why he's doing it.
Well, first of all, USAID, and I sat on the Foreign Affairs Committee, and I tried to expose this as a member on those committee hearings. I mean, we cannot get any accountability from this agency. We can't get any metrics from this agency. This is a real bureaucratic mess, the USAID. The money's being spent and shoveled to countries all over the world, countries that hate us. for programs that, I mean, you have countries where people are starving and they're focusing on, DEI and transgender programming. It's ridiculous. I mean, eventually it becomes, but this is the fact. These are programs. This is actually where money is going to.
We are so close to recovering the Sentinel artifact. It should be somewhere in that excavation site.
I do know.
Remember, the
There's a lot of money that does not go to
bringing nexus back.
one of the programs Kelsey was talking about is PEPFAR. That is a Republican program. Yeah, that's right. So look, as we talk about the real point here, you are elected to whether you want to change where the money goes at PEPFAR, you have the power to do that. Why not do that in a transparent way so that the American people can see? And that is what we are doing right now. That is exactly what we're doing. We're trying to put a pause on this funding going out the door so we can see exactly what's being used for, because our intention when we appropriated this money is not being spent that way. What I will say is these bureaucrats sitting at these agencies, they come before Congress, we have hearings, we try to get to the bottom of where this money is going. $50 million for condoms in Gaza, for example. Congresswoman. These are actual line items. We know that there was not $50 million spent for condoms in Gaza. Okay. There was $0 spent on condoms in the Middle East. That is a complete falsehood and a lie. So the White House put that out there as a. I'm not going to blame you for it. I'm going to blame the White House. I'm going to blame the president, Congresswoman. I'm going to blame the president who upped the dollar amount to $100 million. It is false. It was $50 million as far as I know. It is false. There is zero. The answer is zero. How is it not? Please do not use that as an example.
Gold is at an all-time high. Each one of these is 90 grand. And guess what? Big trouble in big business. Tariff backlog. That means somebody had a piece of paper saying they owned some gold. Their gold for 6 weeks. Why? Because someone stole their money. That's the whole point of gold. You don't know who to trust. That's why you have to have it in the palm of your hand. I hope you understand that. It's TrackSpicy.com for gold chains. This is Isaac's Gold. We trust.
Breaking news, Musk dismantling the government. Exclusive breaking details out front tonight about the young men Elon Musk is sending in as his lieutenants. The editor at Wired, who broke the details about who they are, what they're doing, is out front in just a moment. Because it comes that the world's richest man now has unprecedented power and access to critical government operations. Among them,
Alpha Team, this is Chief of Security Blanchard. Are you a side for sore eyes? I've been holed up in a mansion since yesterday trying to organize a containment response. Now that you're here, let's lock down that AO. I'll track body cams and coordinate.
And it's not Trump's blessing.
Yes. Tremendous fraud.
Sending Molotov.
So some people there. This important thing actually just boils down to this. There are concerns about U.S. aid and fraud and spending money that's investigated something there. We see it, take care of it. But to just shut it down without telling anybody what you're doing, one man
Search the area. We've got 3 genocide personnel.
That is something that at least in terms of the structure of the United States is an un-American way to do it. There is a way to shine a light on U.S. aid. It would be by going before Congress.
And Elon, if you want to run AID, get nominated by Trump and go to the Senate. Good luck in getting confirmed.
Right, you get confirmed, you go in, well, then you could dismantle it. Well, Congressman Jerry Connolly is going to be with us in just a moment. But this is not Musk's only major move right now. According to the Wall Street Journal tonight, Musk is also leading Trump's charge to essentially shutter the Department of Education. And then there's this, Musk and his team gaining full access to the Treasury's massive federal payment system. Basically the checkbook for the whole federal government. So, the $6 trillion that goes and all sorts of things, to households and businesses, well, it goes through there. And up until this point, only a small number of career officials have controlled Treasury's payment systems. That is until this weekend when a top official left after a standoff with Musk's team, where Team Musk tried to stop some payments. Make no mistake, this is a major coup for Musk.
But he's got access only to letting people go that he thinks are no good if we agree with him. And it's only if we agree with him.
All right, let's begin with Jeff Zeleny out front live at the White House tonight. And Jeff, I know that you were able to question the president on a lot of this today. How much power is he willingly giving Musk?
Aaron, it's really difficult to compare to anyone else in the government because Elon Musk has the broadest portfolio, certainly for an unelected official and for an unconfirmed official. I mean, we are seeing example after example, hearing story after story from really agencies across Washington. But I was there in the Oval Office this afternoon asking the president questions, and I was struck by this answer. We asked the president, is there anything that you would not allow? And he said, if there was something that didn't have my okay, I'd let you know about that really fast. What would that possibly be? I mean, no examples really come to mind of what the president would not allow Elon Musk to do. Also, what about all the government contracts he has? Would there be a conflict of interest? And the president said, oh, sure, if there is a conflict of interest, he would stop that. But again, there's no one policing any of this. So the bottom line here is Elon Musk is really spreading his wings throughout this federal government, largely with the help of just a handful of employees. Some may not even be employees of the government. He is what's called a special government employee. Presidents of both parties have brought people on with experience and expertise to work in the government on a part-time basis. This goes far beyond anything that we have ever seen before. That's why there are so many questions about this. So from USAID, yes, the president says he believes that he can make these decisions. He does not believe that it's the purview of Congress to do it. We will see. There are legal challenges. But for Elon Musk, there are a few checks on his power.
It seems only the check of one man, which, of course, has not been used. Jeff, thank you very much. Up front now is Katie Drummond. She is the global editorial director of Wired, and they have these incredible exclusive new details about who Elon Musk is bringing in, sending in to these federal agencies. So, Katie, these stories are sort of amazing, and then you're thinking, what world are we living in where you have, an unelected, unconfirmed individual with so much power going into a system with trillions of dollars of payments and other government agencies? You've been focusing on 6 computer engineers. They're all men, and they are young. The youngest is 19. And Aaron, just to be clear, this is the world we are living in. And Wired has been documenting a few sort of small parts of this world, including, yes, we have identified, and our reporting has identified 6 young men. All of our reporting indicates they are between the ages of 19 and 24. They are either recent high school or recent college graduates. High school graduates in at least one case. All with ties to either Musk-owned companies or Peter Thiel-owned companies. So one is a former Palantir intern, another interned at SpaceX, one is a Thiel fellow, another recently completed a summer internship at Neuralink, which of course is also owned by Elon Musk. All right, so what are they actually doing, and who's paying them for the work? Well, it's to be candid, a little bit difficult to ascertain exactly what they are doing. What we do know is they are working across several federal agencies, including DOGE, of course, as well as the Office of Personnel Management, which is essentially the HR function for the government, and the General Services Administration, which oversees things like federal buildings, leases, and then technology and IT. So what we do know is that these young men are working at the behest of Musk and his team that he has brought in across these agencies on a number of engineering-related tasks. So, okay, Elon Musk.
Their knowledge is critical to mission success.
Try and undead yourself from that, you shit fucker. No move for your shit today, box. Cough up the goods.
Sorry we can't hear you.
Great work.
If anyone had to show up,
When,
I'm glad
in
it
terms
was you.
of what they're doing to create, I don't know, looking at the data, putting the data somewhere, we know what they're doing. This would be the example that we were able to in at least some instances, these men appear to be essentially advancing the work product of one of the each side wanted to settle so we do know one the Durling was part of the federal employees in this department were asked to submit code they were considered, as well as a one-sheet documenting their productivity, so their recent wins, barriers to productivity, barriers to efficiency, which actually calls back to Elon Musk's Twitter takeover. If you recall, he also, in that instance, asked Twitter employees to submit one sheet documenting their productivity, as well as conduct a code review. One of the individuals with a female smell, I should add, as of late month, has been using the federal workers the code. So that's what they're up to. All right. Thank you very much. Incredible work. I want to go now to Dominic. Take the same We've got a graduate with access to managing productivity and code for professional workers, and a group of young men who are shooting on Max
Yeah, it's outrageous. Think about it. The World Development Humanitarian Aid Organization, the Agency for International Development of the United States government, is going to be allegedly shut down or merged with State Department based on the findings of 6 young men from the ages of 19 to 24, hundreds of years of aggregate experience in humanitarian assistance, child and maternal health care, famine relief, refugee assistance, disaster assistance is going to be thrown out the window by a team of 6 young men just graduating from high school or college. That is outrageous, it's unacceptable, and it really gives the lie to any kind of idea that thoughtful analysis has gone into this kind of decision making.
Catherine Rappel, I want to start with you. According to the White House press secretary, quote,
Good morning, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So, oh wow, we got 28 people already in the live stream. That is awesome with 25 likes. Thank you so much for hitting that like button and joining in the live stream by hitting that like button. The YouTube algorithm videos for the more people join in.
Remember, the Aztec is our only hope of bringing Nexus back into dark.
Now, many people look at the president as being the person who is in charge of interest rates, in charge of inflation, in charge of all this stuff, and then they put a lot of blame on the
Welcome to the future, asshole.
Himself has said that he does not have the power over some of the things that a lot of people are giving him credit or blame for, whether it's just administration. So when you look at monetary policy, you really understand that the Federal Reserve acts independently of the president, of the administration, of Congress, of all that stuff. They make decisions based on the FOMC's within the economy itself. You look at they are making this decision based off of the out there on today. they try to keep doing that. Inflation of that nature. And although the Federal Reserve does look at a lot of those numbers, they are not making snap decisions based off of the current changes to these numbers. What they are doing is trying to maintain a particular understanding of what is happening within the economy so that they can then operate their Fed funds rate in a way that is effective for the economy. I know this sounds very confusing, but I'll explain it. See, the Federal Reserve has the ability to adjust the Fed funds rate, which most people are focused in on as the policy of the Federal Reserve. This is when Donald Trump is saying the Fed needs to lower rates, or they need to raise rates, or whatever it is that he's saying at the time. They're talking about the Fed funds rate, which is the overnight, like the short-term overnight lending rate within the banking system. It's not talking about the U.S. Treasuries. It's not talking about mortgage rates. It's not talking about credit cards. It's not talking about any of that stuff, right? What they are talking about is the short-term lending rate within the banking system itself, right? These overnight lending rates, the short-term lending rates, and again, this is in the banking system up at the higher end, so to speak, right? Not to get too detailed into it. So when people hear the Fed should be lowering rates from Donald Trump or from anybody, really, the Fed should be lowering rates, most people focus in on things that are important to them, like mortgage rates, right? That would be like the big one. Or, the U.S. Treasury, like their return on their capital investments. This is where a lot of people end up focusing in on. And so when you hear Donald Trump saying, I'm really smart, I know what I'm talking about, I'm really thinking about really smart what it is that since he has been able to acquire so much wealth, right? And this is what a lot of people end up looking at, saying, yeah, he's a smart dude.
Down. Nothing good is ever down.
However, when you listen to the way that he is talking about what it is that the Federal Reserve should do, it is almost like he does not talk about the issues that the Federal Reserve is truly facing. Like, he does not talk about how the Federal Reserve ran out of monetary policy and how the lower bound of zero and a low neutral interest rate restricts the use of the Fed funds rate. It makes it an ineffective tool. Nobody is communicating that, especially that of coming from the president. So knowing that the monetary policy from the Federal Reserve has this in their focus, the neutral interest rate, anything I hear outside of that is incorrect. There is no other monetary policy out there. So now I think about it. When the president comes out and starts using his words, it has a major impact on how it is that people feel about the economy and what has taken place. Right? They hear, we need to fire Jerome Powell. And they don't know that Jerome Powell is just simply a spokesperson for the FOMC. Nothing changes about the FOMC, right? Other than one vote of one particular person, considering that there's 12 voting members, removing Jerome Powell will have an impact on what will take place within the monetary policy. But yet, to make such a big deal out of it, will then have the attention of the people, and then the people will believe whatever it is that's being stated out there. It's his fault. It's the reason. It's all because of him. And now you've got this credible threat that you can then deploy within the some work to fire, work to bring interest rates down. Evidence of it taking place right now. Just take, for example, what's going on with Mexico, right? 10% tariff on Mexico. And Mexico comes back and, hey, we'll deploy some troops to the border if you pause those tariffs.
I don't trust
Nothing's happened. Hey, we're going to do this on Saturday. Come Monday, hey, we're going to pause it. Nothing has happened. The troops have been deployed.
I felt like this when I heard my jump wings.
Nothing's happened. It's all credible threats. Now, could it come to fruition? Sure. Okay? But time will tell on that. Right now, nothing has taken place. When it comes to that situation, we are seeing it happen within Canada. I see a lot of people come to me, they're like, dude, what are these 25% tariff going to do to lumber? And I'm like, on the 20% of the imported from Canada, it's probably not going to have a big deal to do with the rest of the 80% 50% of the consumed softwoods that is produced right here in the United States.
I never liked
The mills have been running for the last year and a half. They have plenty of room to ramp up production. I'm not concerned about the Canadian lumber. We can produce all the buying Canadian lumber is almost a big investment, especially when you consider that our mills. How many people talk about it? You just look at this threat and think, oh, wow, what's going to happen? It's going to cause the prices of homes to go up. And I'm thinking, no, why would tariffs cause the price of building a home to go up, considering that almost all of the building supplies that go into residential construction is domestically sourced by me? Don't get me wrong, much of it comes from Canada. Some of it comes from Mexico.
Now there's literally nothing happening between you and us.
And if you have a real credible threat that you are trying to maintain, it's not a lot of people say that the Fed is flip-flop, right? That they reverse the market. They stop the move. They stop the move. They have been essentially been a 1% is quite significant, but people thought it was going to. The final economy was that it was going to zero. Emergency rate cut at 50%, or a 50% rate cut, or what am I trying to say? 50 basis point cut. There we go. That had impacted the economy that people thought for sure was done for emergency purposes, that the economy was going into recession, that unemployment was going to skyrocket. Everybody was convinced that
About fucking time someone dealt me a winning hand.
Been sitting on word to put the narrative out there that the market is wrong. Trump standing out there saying that drop the rates, today he said, oh no, they actually didn't make the right. Straight with us because now saying about Donald Trump is no longer using the word. You can't just say, the Fed should be doing this, they should be listening to me, and then only back up and say, oh man, actually they made the right decision. If they had followed me, it would have been the wrong decision. Like, do you see how he shoots himself in the foot for this? You can't do this. I mean, if you want to hold on to the credible threat and you want to use that to your advantage, you cannot let go of it in such fashion. To say, oh yeah, well, last week I said this, but today I say that. So yeah, apparently, they did make the right decision and I would have had made the wrong decision. No, right? Totally giving the power right back to the Federal Reserve. And it only makes their words, their signaling, their forward guidance, their jawboning that much more effective. You see what he's doing? He's actually giving the power back to the Federal Reserve. See how they're in cahoots? These guys are working together. They are not fighting. They are not enemies. 10 minutes into this, let's get some questions going. I'll break down the credible threat theory for you guys. I was thinking about going through it all, but I've done the credible threat theory so many times. You can go back and watch it, but I'll answer any questions that you have on it. To me, the credible threat theory is by far the most accurate way of looking at the
At first to senior White House correspondent Peter Ducey reporting live from the North Lawn. Hi, Peter.
Martha, good afternoon. Any minute, the phone on the president's secretary's desk is going to be ringing for the second time today with Justin Trudeau on the other end of the line. And it sounds like, what we're hearing, it is going to be harder for Canada to strike an 11th-hour deal to avoid tariffs at midnight than it was for Mexico.
This is Chief of Security Blanchard.
Is there
Are you a side for sore eyes?
I've
been holed up in the mansion since yesterday trying to organize a containment response.
Deficits with Canada. Canada is very tough. Canada is very
I'll track
We're
down
not treated
transit
well by
coordinates.
Canada. Now we have to be treated well.
Trump joked at one point he wants to see Canada become the 51st if we won't make them for the tariffs, but his economic advisors are taking this very seriously. They say that Canadians have miscalculated because it's trade threats.
This is not a trade war, this is a drug war. The Canadians appear to have misunderstood the plain language of the executive order, and they're interpreting it as a trade war.
Whatever you want to call it, the former Clinton-era Treasury Secretary Larry Summers is arguing today that it's just going to make stuff cost more.
I think there's every reason to think that the price level's going to be higher if we do this than we don't. And at that point, we didn't have an inflation psychology that had defined the nation's politics. Today, unfortunately, we do.
And President Trump explained in the Oval Office today he doesn't think Washington has played this game with very high thresholds for pain. He is making the case that there will be some pain in this case from this trade tit for tat, but he believes, or he's making the case
Got the hardware.
Got the
trade.
Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you. This morning, the trade war heating up. China retaliating after the first of President Trump's tariffs kicked in at midnight. The U.S. imposing a 10% tax on all Chinese goods, aiming, the White House says, to stop the trade of narcotics in the U.S.
They're sending massive amounts of fentanyl.
That price hike, coming on top of pre-existing tariffs, could raise the cost of medications. Ingredients made in China including cancer drugs, antibiotics, and blood thinners. And affect the full range of Chinese goods that Americans use, from groceries to computers and video games, to popular brands like Shein. China quickly hitting back overnight, saying it's worked out the stolen fentanyl. And China imposing its own tariffs on U.S. coal and natural gas, vehicles, and farm equipment. Beijing also targeting major American companies, opening an investigation into Google, restricting the company that owns fashion brands like Calvin Klein and Tommy Hilfiger, and adding controls on materials that the tech industry depends.
Tear them to pieces.
See the face on that there? Nightmare fuel.
Boss, wanna introduce us?
Oh, God. They're part of one of my skills.
So they're like your enemies?
That's what I explained. Yep, something.
Probably collect some essence stuff. Otherwise,
Another tango identified. How many kinds of these freaks are there?
not dead. Can't believe it, though. Sure, I look more like a beast than a person right now, huh? Listen.
Max armor.
Bottoms up?
Yeah. That's 19 rings clear as per our deal.
Yeah, and thanks to you, we pulled it off without too much trouble.
What you got next?
Let's see. First, passing the written exam and getting my guildmaster license. That, start negotiating with my dad.
Makes sense.
What about you? Got any big plans?
No problem. No concepts going on. That's a job that needs to do. Here.
Okay. Well, if we could pay to put up with me, we could come out and kick them.
I'm gonna smell like blood for days.
And I don't think he likes me very much. He wants to show me any sort of brotherly affection. On the other hand, you not only saved my life, but you helped me out. Better.
This thing hits half as crazy as it looks. I'm in for a good time. You fuckheads like my plasma death ball?
Have we confirmed his origin? Claims to be a hunter. Yeah. He only just escaped from being confronted in the last 10 years. Seems the exit he took spit him out of the gate in the U.S. Well, quite a story. Yes. Some of the things he said, some of the subject.
Wicked pains. Not that I give a shit about them.
Working now, girl. Oh.
Just a lot.
This is the lucky lady then.
Like I told you, Brad.
You bring her here sometime, right?
Tear them to pieces.
I was around level 20 when I fought the servants. Since then, I've gotten a lot stronger. 3 times higher. I should be able to.
Extraction is ready when you are, Alpha.
Nice. Castles. Special. Last I need to go like 10,000 souls. There's that many. I'm outside of my real.
Thanks for that, son of a bitch.
You wish to take over here?
Yes.
And you're asking this, knowing full well that
Insider to run the guild is risky. Respectfully, be a vet.
this hunter will be working with the present with the also and that murderous and incredible how this man is survival. He's participated in every single one of these. Not only that, even the spectators from the other day. It was apparent at first some who led us to the first I assume you were only able to earn that guildmaster's license by borrowing his strength. Yet you still want to be guild leader?
Sorry, Alpha. Exfil helos needed elsewhere.
Max armor.
Yes, sir.
Get ready for a shocking revelation, fuckfaces! Fuck center mass, I'm spraying some gray.
Looks like it's time to head up to the second floor. Well, I guess I know how I'm getting there. This dungeon is surprisingly big. Would have thought there'd be a whole city inside of the building. No, all this walking is getting pretty annoying. You're about to save me a lot of time and effort. Big one. Let's switch. Nice one.
Wait for the show.
I think I'll get you safe. Sounds good.
Now that's a promotion worth saluting. Kaboom!
Why would we keep the reports of the blind man's confidential? People deserve the truth.
It's our association of say it would cause a panic if we go towards our public. For the time being, this was going to be this way. They come with fierce these products.
supplies will get to after a week. This one is really a battle against time.
Right about now, Maxis will be hitting her stride. I can do no less.
Let's see how far I can get. The red one.
Thanks for coming to Bodies by Week. Again. What? You in particular.
Extraction bird in your AO. Limited time offer.
A chunk of points in my inventory. I can summon more soldiers. More magical power to maintain them. Which makes fighting less scary. But how can we call a fight if your opponent doesn't even move? It's not going to attack. I just I think that's going to work like that. I think I'm going to see you punch. My strength stats pretty broken. What's happening with the Cerberus too? It's not slowing down. Something that big so fast! I just need to wait for an opening. No! I got now! It's smart. Predicts my moves and everything. Let's see it perform. If not for those beady little eyes. Gotta stop this thing from zipping around. Now. Now. Should have been watching their step there. They say you're a magic beast that can talk. Yeah, I keep telling about those beasts.
Welcome to Liberty Falls. Population.
Zero issues whatsoever doing a DNA test. Can it, you creep. If I don't ask a question, then you stay silent. Pissed off as it is. What with all my fun put on hold? I swear. They even went and wrote a bunch of dumb paperwork for you. Hey, let me ask something. Can it, I said. How much has humanity learned about the gates of the magic beasts? What? Since Gates and Beasts first appeared, how much have you learned? What are you getting at, freak show? The dungeons, the gates, the beasts. They're just the tip of the iceberg.
The power to bring forth the old.
Well, less than yesterday. Never been so glad to be back up alive. Lucky I'm still in one piece. I need you to look for survivors. So do it threats. Help me save this town. Copy.
Whatever you got from our conversation. This threat did exist. Every corner of the world's got hunters who be willing to take it. It's real help. Valor. It's late.
Listen up. We've got 3 scientists unaccounted for. Not seen in town. Locating and extracting them is your top priority.
Quicker than Chairman C4 in your ear, and twice as entertaining.
Do you remember your son?
Bonus points.
I'm going to ask you a question. Answer that. My answer is screw you. Little You're stunning.
Hurry up and wait, just like
Got anything to say? Tell them in the next life what you need to do.
I long since gave up on this shit making any kind of sense.
Come on, it's almost too easy. Sorry, did my boys give you trouble? Weren't expecting it to go this way, I wonder if the in-depth feel fear, but who cares?
Sorry you came here yet. Well, if anyone had to show up, glad it was you.
The fights between S-waves can affect entire landscapes. Like the waste, everything. Damn. Unfortunate. Sorry, agree. Mr. Brown, it's too late. There's lots of damage. So done. 25 floors left, maybe. Which is still a long way to go. Every unit I got from the giant on the 50th floor. Just now. They're useful enough for their own. The second is the cherry. And that empty space tells me that closets and accessory to Then there's this fear of avarice. It doesn't affect my stats directly. I don't do that. First, let's remove it. Oh, not like I was really after the key anyway. On the 50th floor, I got a World Tree fragment from Avaricious Vulcan. And on the 75th, I got Echo Forest spring water by defeating Metis, the Guide of Souls. The elixir of life only needs 3 ingredients, and I have 2 of them. One more, and I save Mom. When I come back, it's on. I think I missed.
Welcome back to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Washington today, meeting President Trump in the White House. Leaders expected to discuss Israel's ceasefire over Hamas and Hezbollah and the overall tensions in the Middle East. Netanyahu also met with National Security Advisor Michael Waltz and Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff yesterday. The Trump administration reportedly asking congressional leadership to approve a new $1 billion arms sale to Israel, which will include thousands of bombs, armored bulldozers, and other weapons. Joining me now is Fox News senior strategic analyst and the chairman of the Institute for the Study of War, General Jack Keane. General, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, delighted to be here, Maria.
What are you expecting out of the Netanyahu meeting?
Well, I think there's a number of things on the agenda, but certainly let's give significance to the fact that this is the first international leader that President Trump is meeting with in person. And it has to do with the significance of obviously what is taking place in the Middle East and where is this ceasefire and hostage release prisoner exchange going, and also a termination to the war. Literally what's on the table is we've seen the initial stages of hostage and prisoner exchange take place in the first couple of weeks of the 42-day ceasefire. Scores of hostages still remain. And today is supposed to be the beginning of the second phase of the operation in terms of negotiations. It looks like Prime Minister Netanyahu is going to send his team to Doha at the end of the week after having discussions with President Trump to begin those negotiations. And what's critical about those certainly are how far apart Hamas and Prime Minister Netanyahu to the end state of those negotiations is supposed to be Hamas is supposed to give up governance, which is unlike the single exchanges of the and Israel is supposed to leave Gaza, and then the war permanently at odds. And so that's going to be on the table for this one. The normalization of relationships between Saudi Arabia and Israel is the second thing that is going to be much more pressure on Saudi Arabia now, Maria, as a result of the war, in terms of what is the final solution for the Palestinians? Is there a pathway to an end state? Certainly, what
Hi, you're watching I Allegedly, and I'm Dan. Welcome back. You know, the numbers just don't lie, guys. They really don't. And as I was compiling everything for this video, I was sitting there just shocked at all these different figures that, came to me, and I can't wait to share this with you guys. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. And today we have a sponsor, Patriot Gold Group. Now, guys, think about this. This is just random, okay, in the order. 71% of all real estate agents last year did not sell one home. There are 1.5 million real estate agents. 71% of them did. Isn't that wild? So, that's 1 million of those agents did not sell one home. 4% of all agents sold 10 homes.
My favorite egghead.
4%.
Not just book smart, but street smart.
Isn't that wild, guys? So, The bad news is that is 8. But this is a very good. It's like, hey, I'm going to up to 10% of the 10%. I mean, they sold 10 houses. So I love stats like this. I love it.
Showing off is just another perk of the job.
And once we hire and go to having lately, I decided that I was going to buy for my next home. And I think it's like, oh, it's terrible. They're just going to the other side. They're not going to do it up. It will be deducted from the price of the home. Being done right now, and a lot of things just don't have a clue. So, ask questions. I had to have blood work done today, and this morning I was in the lab office, and a woman pulled in frantic with a very sick baby and toddler. I mean, under a year old, and she was like, "The doctor told me to come over here to get the blood work done." They go, "Oh, do you have an appointment?" "No, I don't." Well,
We're gonna have the most stat room of all time right here. Like, this is gonna be a room. First of all, Ben and Sneagle, you guys just met.
No, I know Ben for over 2 years now. Something like that.
Okay. So,
Great, Ben. Let's just start off by saying that. God,
I'm here to learn. I learned a lot this fight. Like, I learned. Like, the event was amazing. I love that. It was amazing. The energy was amazing. Everyone pulled up for me. That was love. There's fights though, bro. Like, I gotta things out there. You gotta help me find some fights. Yeah. You might have to get in there, bro. Like, we need fights, bro.
Somebody to carry?
Felix! I wanna know your honest thoughts. Felix, you're an honest man. Probably Felix is Ben.
Somebody.
Okay. Felix? What is it? Oh, Banks is here too. Banks. Yeah.
Oh, I can hear the wash me putting tumble over like fucking Jenny now, fucking bang. But
so who got part of the night? No, yeah, I'm part of the night. I know, bro. He did it too early. He did it way too early.
The sweater fight was really entertaining.
You know what? For me, it's the Vex Bolt and the other big ones.
The big dude.
Hey.
I'm so fucking happy.
Sit down. We're stacking this room with the winners. She pulled up.
So the thing about that's an issue.
The last fight?
Yeah, where were you the whole time? I was watching the whole time.
Jorge! What's up, baby? We're live.
So you won late.
What's up, bro? Jorge, this is like there's just people in this room. This is how the people in this room. I want to know just your recap, bro. Like, straight up, though. You're the fighter. You're a professional fighter. You tell the honest recap. You get in the frame, too.
Come here. In the hospital, I want to know what you think.
I'm going to stab you. Rage. Hey, Rage. Get on in. I want to know.
It's a loaded lobby right now.
It's a loaded lobby. Yeah, it is. It's a stat. That's what I'm saying. Sexy. I'm gonna give Sexy this chair when she comes in here, too. When she comes here, she got this. She gets the Lamborghini chair. You get the Lamborghini chair. I gotta know your recap. I gotta know your thoughts. You consider this Lamborghini chair. I'll stand. I don't give a fuck. She lit.
What a gentleman. What a gentleman. Love you, gentlemen.
Hey, guys.
Alright. All you guys in here were part of my first real event. I appreciate every single one of you. Like, you guys don't understand how much it really means to me. And I'm learning. I'm learning. I just want to go like in order, like you guys is like honest takes. We'll start honestly with you. Guys, go. What do you think? And be honest. And
I got you, bro. Like I told you earlier, from a production level and efficiency, referees, the lighting, the timing, everything was A-okay. I was good about it. Getting like more serious guys. So a lot of people were out of shape. Shouldn't be. It's not that either. It's that you gotta respect yourself. You gotta at least be able to know the set amount of time you should be able to go at any level. Amateur. You can't just be gassing out and staring at motherfuckers. There's some motherfuckers that take it very seriously. They get it. You know, motherfuckers, you gotta bring them back.
facts. They gotta come back.
The ones that just staring at each other because they got tired, but they got tired.
Go for that quick bag. I agree. I agree.
Okay, so we're going to
What? No, wait. That's what it was.
He got beat after that. They had to
That was the first fight we missed though. That was the knockout. What? They're saying R.I.P. Vex because I saw he had an asthma attack after the fight, but I hope he's good.
Why would I say R.I.P. that man?
Prayers for him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's mean, bro.
That's not right.
Also, the last guy, Jay, I respect. He has a passion for throwing backs.
Oh man. That division. That division was big as fuck. You just shot this shit for my shit. That guy laid down the road. Good job. I like to start that between.
Follow the bouncing ball, motherfuckers. Double core.
Things are moving at breakneck speed, so much so that it's really difficult to keep up. There's a lot of speculation as to where this will all end as far as the tariffs, and now with the creation of a new sovereign wealth fund. Could that mean that we are at the precipice of a sovereign gold fund? Well, if so, let's go and talk about it as we explore.
has been moving around. We're going to get to that first, because there has been a report that has been shared with us by Rob Evans from the Freedom Report on his Twitter account that there are 40,649 gold contracts already delivered in 3 days in February, after a heavy delivery of 22,538 contracts for the entire month of January. It's completely unprecedented, he says. London was drained, now what's happening in the U.S. and the COMEX. The squeeze is happening. Where is all of this gold going? And concerning the COMEX, that's already in the United States, heading to New York. And what would this gold be used for? Now, again, there's a lot of speculation, but some are making inferences that this will be a part of the sovereign wealth fund. Now, before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about this sovereign wealth fund and how it was essentially pitched by Donald Trump on the campaign trail in 2020.
In America's own sovereign wealth fund to invest in national endeavors for the benefit of all of the American people. Why don't we have a wealth fund? We don't just have wealth funds, we have nothing. We have nothing. We get a sovereign wealth fund in order to name it something different. I'll talk about it. Mr. Paulson, who's in the audience, and a lot of other friends of mine. Name it something that's appropriate. Perhaps sovereign wealth fund would be appropriate, but it's going to be the same thing. We put tremendous amounts of money, all this money that will be jobs, knowledge and industry, and we'll have the greatest sovereign wealth fund.
So, the other intelligent things are needing what's happening now, almost naturally based off the tariff effect. Now that has been put off. But just recently, hours ago, Donald Trump signed an executive order for the sovereign wealth fund. Would gold be a part of it? No, it would make some sense. Gold's reaching an all-time high right now, and they speculate that it will climb up even further, maybe as high as $3,200 an ounce just this year. Now, there has been talk about the United States having Bitcoin as well, and that could be a part of this. So investments like Bitcoin or even gold, which in a sense is performing like a very good investment right now as it's outperformed the S&P 500.
Donald Trump will continue to drain the swamp, rack up achievement after achievement for the American people, make America great. And just breaking hours ago, Senator Susan Collins announced that she backed will vote to confirm Kelsey Gabbard as the Director of Intelligence for the proposal. White House Press Secretary Caroline Levitt. Caroline, great to have you. Great job on your first day. I think you brought a shock and awe into that room yourself. How'd you like it?
Well, thanks so much for having me, Sean, and I loved it. You know why? Because I work for a president who's getting things done, delivering on the promises, and speaks the truth. So I'm so humbled by the outpouring this morning. The first person was saying, we're doing such a great job at the White House. You do a good job when you are acting on common sense and you are speaking the truth, and that's exactly what President Trump is doing every single day.
Canada, Mexico, Panama, Denmark, Colombia, Venezuela, all have given in to Donald Trump. They've all caved. And also over the weekend, not a small note, he did kill a bunch of ISIS terrorists that did not get a lot of media play.
Mm-hmm. That's right. There is so much good news, so much winning out of the Trump White House right now that the mainstream of the media can't keep up with it, because President Trump is signing executive order after executive order, delivering on promise after promise, and implementing fundamental change of our bloated bureaucracy and our corrupt government here in Washington, D.C. He was given a once-in-a-generation mandate by the American people to govern and to fundamentally transform Washington, and that's exactly what he is doing. And he responded to years of chaos and mayhem and apologizing for America. Having a president again in his own office who is standing up for America. And this is what it looks like when you have a leader of our great nation who uses the leverage of the United States to understand that since our nation's founding, we have been viewed as that shining light on the hill. We have been viewed, rightfully so, as the best, proudest country in the world. A lot of great mistakes, or to use that for the American people's benefit. And that's why you have seen so many countries around the world in just a matter of 2 weeks cave to President Trump's demand. In the past 24 hours, you have Canada and Mexico agreeing to help secure our southern and northern borders. And these tariffs that President Trump threatened to impose on both Canada and Mexico, and they were sign, seal, deliver as they had. Those were retaliatory tariffs for the last 4 years of treatment by Canada and Mexico of our nation. They have allowed an unprecedented wave of illegal deadly drugs and illegal criminals on our territorial borders, and President Trump said enough is enough. He is standing up for the American people. 2 more lives have been lost at the hands of illegal migrants and Chinese fentanyl flowing through our nation's borders. And he got Canada and Mexico to step up to the plate to surge resources.
Donald Trump's psychotic behavior continues to be on display, and the world is taking notice how pathetic, weak, and psychotic he is. Donald Trump continuing to make posts on water in California, claiming that Congress made a faucet bringing water to Los Angeles. In fact, he did the opposite. Donald Trump ordered the Army to go into California and divert water reservoir resources that should have gone to, causing serious issues and could have caused devastating flooding, draining reservoirs that are going to be needed in the summer. But this is psychotic he's supposed to write. And Donald Trump writes, great interest in TikTok. All concerned. Also, just like take a look at him right now. It's not Kennedy says, let me get this straight. Trump's signature economic proposal was tariffs. Now with our 2 largest trading partners, Canada, Mexico too, Trump has dropped the tariffs in exchange for nothing. All he did was show the rest of the world, even on his most important issue, right? Donald Trump made fake deals with Mexico and Canada and pretended they were doing things that were already destroying an investment of $1.3 billion in border security. Months ago, Donald Trump was like, Mexico is great, and they're going to put 10,000 troops on board. They did that in 2021. As I said, the world is taking note. Just look at some of these comments on these 64 comments. There's like thousands of comments like this, but this is one right here. Trump got rewarded by Wall Street. Then he announced measures that had already been agreed upon by Biden and Mexico. Like George Conway says, Trump is dangerous, but also stupid. John writes to the Sydney Morning Herald, caused his tariff threats? What a clown. I'll tell you what really happened. Trump had calls from the big end of town adult to pull his head in. Rupert Murdoch in Oval Office with Trump? Hasn't he always been in some way or another? And now it seems that many other multi-billionaires are too. America, a democracy? Nothing can be further from the truth. I wonder out of Trump and Murdoch who was actually some of these, they're literally laughing at us abroad. I mean, they're horrified, to be clear, but also just mocking Donald Trump. Obviously, Trump has forgotten the time when Murdoch's rag called him Trumpy Dumpty John Goes. Trump signs off on Canada and Mexico tariffs on the weekend. Global markets hammered after having the weekend to ponder the consequences. Trump backs down the next day. Markets tentatively recover on the news. I mean, people get what Donald Trump is doing for the world is taking notice. And Donald Trump made his post. Canada has $1.3 billion for Davidson. Sorry, it's Congressman Davidson. No, it's not. At least Trump reiterated what already existed in Trump's bill.
Everyone understands the fentanyl prices, but one, a lot of fentanyl comes from the southern border. A lot of it goes to the specifically, he called this off. not saying that he won concessions to both of them, but are sort of tangible concession in your view?
Yeah, absolutely. He won concessions, and part of it is well, it's a commitment from Trudeau that wasn't there to help with fentanyl, to help with the black market,
He announced the plan
and to secure the border.
He announced that plan though 6 weeks ago, back in December.
Well, at least he's reiterated it and formalized it. And let me share this with you as well. So this is how we entered yesterday, and then Donald Trump folded like a cheap suit right after that. Play the clip.
I think China's a winner. Today, a very big winner.
Most markets are down, so Americans are losing retirement savings.
The damage to consumers and to companies is being tallied up at the moment, and the numbers are big.
This is an unnerving market, sparking both of our neighbors to the north and south to promise retaliation.
This is the very start of his tenure. This is his January, February priority based on a November victory. He's in office less than a month, and now we can report, as you may have heard, but we're going to give you the details, Trump is blinking today after threatening what could have been this trade war over the weekend.
And by the way, Canada's ambassador to the UN standing up. Here is Canadian Ambassador Ray. Play this clip.
Why we're trying to have a reasonable and sensible discussion, and that's the kind of discussion
I appreciate
we'd like to have, and one that's respectful. And by the way, we're not the 51st state. We're a sovereign, independent country. Our leader deserves to be treated with respect, and we deserve to be treated with respect, and that's the way we want to proceed.
Human rights groups are condemning an unprecedented potential deal between El Salvador and the U.S. The country has offered to house violent criminals from America, including U.S. citizens, and receive deportees of any nationality. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio unveiled the offer after meeting with the country's president on Monday.
Less than yesterday.
He has agreed to accept deportation.
Never been so glad to see backup arrive.
Alien many nationalities. Members of the team in Nicaragua house them in his jail.
Save this town. Copy.
Third, he has offered to house in his jail dangerous American criminals in custody in our country, including those of U.S. citizenship and legal rights. No country's ever made friendships with the
Well, El Salvador says it will take a fee to house convicted criminals in a mega prison. The country has one of the highest street rates in the world. CNN contributor Stefano Posavon is tracking the story from Bogota, Colombia, and he's joining us now. Stefano, aside from the fee the country will be paid, I mean, what's in it for El Salvador? Is this all about the money, or is it about trying to gain favor with the new administration?
It's about gaining favor with the new administration. We know that President of El Salvador has had personal relationships with both Donald Trump and President Musk in the past. He's a friend down in Central America. But I think here is a very important precisation. Despite how outstanding the idea of deporting U.S. convicted criminals, American citizens that are serving a sentence in the U.S. and moving them to El Salvador, as Mark Rubio appeared to suggest that was on offer late last night, there's one important clarification to point out. Take a listen to one of what one of the professors that we spoke with told me yesterday about this potential deal.
Ain't seen no reindeer shit.
People who are alleged gang members who have not yet been convicted of a criminal violation have still only, if they are undocumented, only violated a civil code, not a criminal code. So the idea of using this alleged category, this very loose and overly flexible category to detain and incarcerate, potentially deport, not even for criminal charges. I mean, it really does the credibility of the United States as a rule of law-based country.
Distinction is crucial here because under the new statement law that now implicated in 2022, there is no distinction between alleged and convicted criminals. The police has the authority to detain
any person under suspicion of being part of a gang, maybe because they have tattoos, maybe because they are seen hanging out with neighbors that are under the control of the gangs. And that's why human rights organizations in El Salvador are telling us that they believe that out of the 82,000 people that have been detained in the last 2 years, several tens of thousands of them are actually innocent. And so the idea for the United States to handle their gang problem and the problem that these transnational gangs like Tren de Aragua and MS-13 are posing to the administration with these same tactics as El Salvador has employed over the last 2 years is raising enormous concern, not just for the human rights activists, but the people and, of course, the United States, but for everyone who is really looking at the rule of law in these side of the world, because if you look at all of it, it's exported to many other countries. We're seeing across Latin America and other countries looking at Nigeria as an example, as a model to follow how to tackle gang crime and particular levels of violence that are typical of this side of the world, where we're seeing that these potential deal could just give Bukele a badge of honor for him to wear. Amra?
All right, Stefano Pozzebon, thank you very much for your reporting there from Colombia. This morning, the United States and China appear to be inching closer to a trade war after Beijing revealed it would be retaliating against Washington tariffs with their own on U.S. goods. This was within minutes of the U.S.'s 10% tariff on Chinese imports coming into effect at midnight.
Beijing announced that it would impose tariffs of 15% on U.S. coal and liquefied natural gas, also 10% on other U.S. imports like crude oil and agricultural machinery. Beijing says those tariffs would go into effect on February 10th. That's next Monday. Despite this looming trade war with China, America's tariffs on Canada and Mexico appear to be on hold for now. Following a phone call with Canada's Prime Minister, Mr. Trump said he would pause tariffs for 30 days, citing Canada's plans to ramp up border security. It's important to note those border plans by Canada had actually been announced back in December. Yesterday morning, the president put a similar tariff delay on Mexico after speaking with his Mexican counterpart. She also told him that her country would be beefing up security at the southern border.
They've agreed to put in 10,000 soldiers permanently, like forever, 10,000 soldiers at their side of the border and stop fentanyl and illegal aliens from coming into our country. And we're going to have a big negotiation with Mexico. I'll be involved too, and President Sheinbaum will be involved to see whether or not we can work something out on the tariffs.
Bob Pepper joining us now, NBC News White House correspondent Aaron Gilchrist and NBC News international correspondent James Mackey-Frayer, who is in Beijing. Good morning to both of you. Janice, let's start with you. Walk us through these retaliatory tariffs China has announced. Which U.S. industries is China targeting?
Well, as President Trump stands down on Canada and Mexico, it seems to be heating up with China. Rapid-fire retaliation today from Beijing on multiple fronts. First, China is imposing additional tariffs of 10 to 15% on a range of U.S. imports, including coal, liquefied natural gas, crude oil, and farm machinery. It's also targeting some car imports, namely pickup trucks, and announced additional export controls on more than 24 critical metals. This is effective immediately. The tariffs, though, take effect on February 10th. The measures aren't seen as making a huge dent in the U.S. economy. Economists say it's more symbolic. The measures affect roughly 30% of U.S. exports to China. But they do seem designed to send a message from China that it could get a lot worse, in particular for red states. It's thought that China's leader Xi Jinping and President Trump are looking for a reset in relations. Xi sent his vice president to attend the inauguration. That potential is still seen as being there, but on tariffs, Xi and the officials around him would not want to be seen as close to President Trump, the U.S., or the West, so China was expected to hit back. Jones. Yeah, so Aaron, let's bring you in here and pick up right there. We understand President Trump is expected to speak with China's President Xi over the next few days. Were these retaliatory measures?
I think we're almost cashless now.
Well, one, I wouldn't like it.
It's the fear that's just only a number three. I mean, all my debts, I'm not a fan of it. I don't think you can
I would just cross-border revalue our currency.
You pull out your credit card, and it doesn't work. So as soon as the Bitcoin started becoming available, people hoarded themselves
Vans full of Social Security, and they would drive to Washington, D.C., exchange them for silver dollars.
What if America became a fully cashless society? Well, today I actually went to a coin show in Cincinnati, Ohio, to ask the experts of the coin dealers, coin shop owners, of what their thoughts would be if we completely replaced physical currency with digital currency.
I personally don't like the idea of society. That's just me, because like physical objects are me.
Well, as a collector, it makes me crazy. But honestly, I guess maybe someday that'll happen, but I don't think it'll happen as soon as most people think. Actually, I've seen reports here and there that in some places around the world, there's actually more of a demand for coinage than there used to be.
Well, one, I wouldn't like it, and two, I don't think in my lifetime that that's a possibility, because people of my generation are so used to cash. I understand you guys like to go, okay, I'll have to pay that. I Apple Pay for my Dunkin' Donuts this morning.
I mean, all my debt's digital, right? I mean, if you want to use a credit card, I'll take a credit card, you know. I mean, I've done a lot of cash. Hey, we're not cash at the point show yet. I can see digital, because, I mean, if we have codes on everything, I'm not saying I can get good. If I can put codes like this, some of them walk up to your thing and tell them what this is, and then
banknotes, maybe a very small trend, but some of the younger people are doing, there's a name for it, envelope something, where they'll cash their check, and they have an envelope for rent, an envelope for groceries, an envelope for whatever. They put cash into it, and they spend out of an envelope. When the envelope's empty, they wait till the next paycheck, rather than charging on a card and getting out of control.
I don't like it, and I don't think it's going to happen. I think there's too many people like you and me and everybody in this room who can like physical assets like silver, believe it's going anywhere. So I don't think it's going anywhere. I think we might see a bit of both. You know, I like to see Bitcoin and cash in I'm not sure. I still like it. And I tell people all the time, you need to have a box full of cash at home. They go, I said, well, what happens someday when you pull out your credit card and it doesn't work? And I've had people tell me, oh, that's all work because I don't work.
And y'all get blown up, brings a
What happens? We had a great storm here last night. If the electricity goes out, you go into the corner store and need water, and they go, I'm sorry, no electricity. But if I got a $5 bill, I'm going to get a bottle of water. If you just got your debit card or your Apple Pay, you're going to be disappointed.
It's nothing but cash. Because it's paycheck, cash, you take everything in cash.
Shit from the peanut gallery.
But I think it'll
Amazon beta stores that have different stuff.
It's unreal. I mean, that's how like some of the stadiums are going to these sporting events, like even downtown Cincinnati. Like, if you want to go to the Bengals game, they don't accept any cash. It's all card. So no ATMs there because you don't need cash. You know, so it is wild to really think about to see how far it's came and kind of see where it's going. It's tough to say. So
coins will always have a place in my heart. We go cashless, in my opinion, it's gonna remove problems. I don't know. There's a lot of cryptocurrency issues, so on and so forth. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it.